family. Welcome back to What the Fiznuck, where we talk about all kinds of things. It might be more than talking. We might argue, we might fuss, we
We might
might debate.
might even get into it real bad, y'all, but y'all will see the realness and the authenticness and the organic how we communicate. So welcome
Yeah.
to the What the Fizz Nug, y'all. What we talking about today, Dr. T?
All right, so we got Dr. T and Mr. Critical here. I think this is one. They're always heated. The overall topic I think is relationships, but maybe what's different from the past and present in relationships is what we might get into. How you feel about that?
Old versus the new. Well,
Mhm.
that's always a good one. I'm an old school, so I'm
Yeah.
always look back to the old ways and think that the old ways would fit better today, but we know that's not realistic.
Yeah, I had to put my glasses on today because I need to bring it today.
Yeah. I wish I had my sound effects, but don't worry about it. We're gonna incorporate them back in there sooner or later. So just hang in, family.
All right. So what's your stand? You said you're traditional. What
I'm
does that
very
mean? You look to the
traditional.
past.
I'm like a conservative, like a real Republican, conservative type of Republican. I believe that all things in the past was much better grounded, based in truth, based in loyalty, understanding, most importantly, understanding roles that the man had to play and the woman had to play, and the obligations and commitment that they both made, and also knowing that marriage was not about love. And they understood that it was about business.
Okay. Thank you for that TED Talk. I'ma always go back to I can't help but think the traditional marriage was really about control. It wasn't about loyalty. It wasn't about love. It
Uh,
was about
y'all, here we go. Here we go.
it was about business in a sense, but it was mostly about control. So
Control.
yeah.
So let's talk about the control. How could it be controlling when the woman was in a position of choice? She chose, she didn't have to marry him, understanding that the relationship was what it is. So she was willingly going into this relationship, understanding that if
Was
you
she
say,
was she willingly?
yeah, because based on what you just said, it's about control. Well, if it was about control, she's totally submitted to it.
Okay. Time out because you asked the question and then also gave your opinion after
Okay,
you asked
okay,
me the question.
okay,
So
okay,
that's not
okay.
cool.
Okay, so that's a scratch. That's a scratch,
Okay.
y'all. Go scratch that one. Okay.
Whistle, "Preet," flag on the play. So control when you say there was a choice, that is absolutely ludicrous because there was no choice when a woman couldn't vote, a woman couldn't own land, a woman couldn't even have a freaking bank account. Now, this is just modern. This is just modern 20th century. We're talking. We're not even talking biblical days where women were dang near property.
That was really the best way, to be honest with you. But anyway, I'm just listening. I'm just listening. And I'll tell you why. I give you my stance on why that was a better way.
That is definitely what the business. For for a woman for you to think that was the best way for a woman to be
It worked.
considered pro
Yeah,
did it
it
would
worked
it?
for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. There wasn't nothing wrong with it back then. It worked absolutely well. They built civilizations, they built families, they built countries, they built cities. It obviously had to have worked.
Well, then you might as well say slavery worked because they built the cotton industry, they built the indigo industry, they built the rice industry, they built the
We'll say that
sugarcane
for the next.
industry. So you might as well say slavery worked.
We'll say that for the next topic, y'all.
But that's the logic that you're utilizing right now.
I
That
really am.
is and that goes out the door because just because something looked like it was working, obviously, we don't want to sit here and act like anyone should be created any less than or treated any less than another. And that's exactly what it was.
That's a modern way of thinking. That's a
And that's
modern
how
way
I,
of
and that's
thinking.
how I think.
But that's okay because nowadays that might work, but it doesn't mean that it would have worked back in the past. That wouldn't have
Well,
worked in the past because it wasn't necessary for a woman to be having this so-called feminine movement. It wasn't necessary because it was everything that was a man's role and obligation was automatically understood. Only in today's society had that twist changed the statute of a relationship. Because nowadays, all of this feminine movement stuff, all of this equal rights, and I agree with women rights. I agree with women having the right to make choices. I'm not objecting to that. I'm just stating the fact that the relationships in the old worked much better than relationships today.
The relationships of old were built on lies because
Regardless of what it
well,
was built on, it worked.
and that's just a crazy mentality. Again, you're using there's a logic there that just doesn't stand.
Okay, let me give
It
you some
doesn't make
facts.
any sense.
Let's make this a little bit more interesting because I like putting you in the corner, and this is a
You
corner.
ain't put me in no quarter
This
just
is a
because
corner
you said
putter.
it was,
Let
and
me
your
hold
behind
on,
still need to be
hold
picking
on,
cotton.
Let me state my facts.
No, you
Okay,
go on out there and
okay,
get you some cotton.
okay. Well, I probably would have been picking card too, but I've probably been a rebellious ass nigga too, though. But hold on, let me state my facts. When you look at today society, back in the old ways, back in the 60s and in the 50s, I'm not saying that separations and split families wasn't existing. I'm not saying that women necessarily didn't have a right, but because they did. It also depended upon the man, and their relationship that that man would let that woman develop and be herself. So we don't know how that dynamic was back then, but what we do know, comparing to what statistics say that in 2025, and there's not placing no blame on nobody because there's a lot of nuances and parts that cause what I'm finna say to happen. But when you look at divorce, single parent housing, when you look at the education system that black women mostly took advantage of, when you look at the narrative and the objective that was behind empowering women, it was a device to break up the family unit. It was a device that was used to empower and depower the man. Empower the woman, depower the man. Now, we could get into that. That's a big conversation. But right now, just for the sake of argument, those things that happened in the old days compared to today, there's a lot of difference. Would you not say that? It's a big difference. But what's the main difference is, again, women nowadays have so much opportunity, have so much empowerment.
Yes, sir.
But well, I'm not gonna say that you shouldn't. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
look at the detriment
Because
that came with it, though. The detriment that came
but
with all of
based
this
on what
empowerment.
though? Because
Based on
you're failing to recognize there were whole societies and cultures that were built on matriarchy. So you're only looking at one aspect of what worked. There were
I'm
civilizations.
looking at the whole picture that
But
what worked.
just because there's more divorce now than it was doesn't mean, to me, that just means that the purpose of divorce has worn out its welcome, because the purpose of divorce, like, or the purpose of marriage, like I mentioned, was for control. You had
No,
you
it
had
was
to
not.
it was because you needed a woman, just, and it goes back to virginity as well. You needed a woman to be pure so that she could preserve your bloodline, so that you could keep your land in your family. You could pass it down to your son. So virginity, marriage, you needed to marry, you needed so you could hand down your property. That's it. It was business for the man. Women were a vessel. But you can't overlook other societies where women were the matriarchs, women were running the societies, and they were
What society
successful.
was that? Name what society was that? Women have
Well,
never
y'all do
ran
y'all's
no
own
society,
research.
baby.
Y'all do y'all's own research
Yeah, y'all
because
do your own research on that, but you can base one thing on this. Women have never ran, built, made.
we hold on, because you remember. No, hold on, y'all, because Mr. Critical tried this before, and I pulled up a whole list of cultures and
Yes,
civilizations
he
where
did.
women
Yes, he
ran it.
did.
So
Yes, he did. And that
you
was like
had,
500 years ago cultures you was pulling up.
but it worked, and I'm gonna tell you what, they worked until men felt so inferior, like so many times that we see in other where inferiority rears its ugly head. So certain people have to destroy it because they're afraid. So yes, it
Well,
happens
okay,
when
so
it comes to women.
what's the excuse for such decay in the black culture now when it comes to marriage? Based on the old days, and what do you think is the destruction mechanism that's causing the separation and the breakdown of the unit of the black family, the woman and the man?
I
Because it
mean,
is a problem.
partially, it's a what I do see. I don't see divorce necessarily as a problem. What I do
Hold
see
it. Hold it. Hold it.
What I do
Let's
see as an issue is a single parent raising a child because there lacks balance, there lacks structure, there
okay,
lacks
okay,
certain things
okay.
when there aren't two parents in the household. But I won't even
Mhm.
say there lacks structure. I'm gonna take that back. I'm not gonna say structure because single parent household doesn't mean lack of structure, but it does is difficult to balance whether it's a single mother or whether it's a single father because I parent one way and I don't have a partner to help balance how I parent or to help bring a different perspective into parenting. So outside of parents, and that don't even mean just because you got a two-parent household that the child ain't gonna be a wreck. But generally, two-parent household is a better situation for a child. Outside of that, and I believe that you can still parent without being married. You can be co-parents
See,
and have a
that's
successful.
the problem right there. That's the problem right there.
Why is that a problem?
First you say there's no problem with divorce. That's the first beginning of the bigger problem. The
I don't
second
think there.
is that to think that is that yeah, of course, a single parent can parent because they don't have a choice. But to neglect the fact that it's all balanced out and it doesn't make a difference. It is a two parent household. That's where you're wrong at. That is definitely a fact that has been proven time after time. Two-parent household definitely makes a difference when
I,
it comes to a child's
I'm not
upbringing.
arguing that.
I know you're not, but what the issue is when you say, well, a single parent does raise their kids and a single, that's where the problem come in at. It's acceptable that a single parent have to be a single parent because that's what that choice required you to be, a single parent. In some
Nobody, it
cases,
might not
not
have been
all.
a choice. It
Not in
might not
all
have been a
cases.
choice.
Not in all cases. But
It-
at the end of the day, the problem is marriage today has diminished. Marriage today don't have no value. Marriage today is like a feeling. Marriage today is like gym shoes. When they get old, just go get a new pair.
What's the purpose of marriage today?
The purpose of marriage today should be a man providing, protecting, guiding, encouraging, inspired. Well, he should never inspire. That should already be natural in the woman or the man. But be a support system.
I can get all that from a good girlfriend, from my best girlfriend. I can get all that from my best girl.
That's another aspect of the problem. Women tend to think that their girlfriend can supplement what a man is supposed to do as far as when it comes to the nurturing, the taking care of, the provision, the support, the guidance. See, a
But that
woman
what
can't
who
get,
you're that's not but that's not happening. I
of
believe
course it's not
if the
happening.
man if the man were equipped the way you just described him, if the man had all the ingredients that you just gave him, then that wouldn't we wouldn't see the rate of
Well,
divorce that we
I
see.
disagree again.
We do not see these kind of men.
There are more men out here that are secure, masculine, providers, protected. What the problem is,
Who
men,
said?
listen, men have gotten tired of this reversal role of a woman when it comes to marriage. Women tend to go with their feelings in marriage and not being realistic and understanding what the roles are and
What what
what
what
the
roles?
duties are in a
What
marriage.
roles? What roles and what duties?
I just know.
I believe women are understanding their power that they wield and men don't like it. And men don't want to
No,
raise their
that's no way.
level
That's not
to the
true.
woman to the woman's level of her power.
That's not true.
Men
No,
men
women
want to
have
keep a woman
always been
men,
in their power.
men want to keep a
It's,
woman where
hold
she
on, hold on.
was. Men want to keep a woman where she was and women are understanding the natural gifts that they have and are stepping into them, and men can't keep up, and therefore men act out.
That is Western
No,
bullshit that you
not
just
at
said.
all.
That's
Not that's
westernized bullshit because that westernization, that femininity movement, what you just described was what you call the feminine movement. Back in
no,
1968, in the early
no.
70s, the white woman came in with this equal rights opportunity, and the black women jumped on board in the 70s and ran off all the way to the left field and
Mhm.
fucked up the whole dynamic. The black woman is the only woman that look down on marriage and have a position as you have when it comes to marriage, as you just stated. We coming
Mhm.
into our power. We
Yes.
understand our femininity. The white woman don't say that shit. Only the black
Because
woman say that she
I'm not
don't
worried
need
about her
marriage.
because
She don't
because
need marriage.
all I can speak about is black girl magic. So and you're speaking about a moment in time. I'm speaking about
I'm talking
ancient
about today.
civilizations.
I'm
I
talking
know
about today.
you're speaking about current time. I'm speaking about ancient civilizations. I'm speaking about
Uh-huh.
other cultures that are outside of Western civilization that had women in what is it called when there's multiple wives? Why
Not
is it
poly relationships.
no, I'm not talking about relationship, but I don't know why the word is escaping me right now. But there are there were male or feminine and masculine gods, not
True.
a he. There were feminine and masculine gods. And there was a time when there was the women, yeah, the women had a different had power and had an understanding of
Nature.
what's the word? Yeah, just had a different understanding of their identity. And I believe that
I
identity
think
was
they was
stripped.
more in tune to their
Yes,
identity.
right, which was a powerful
So
identity,
what's
and they
happening
were
today?
stripped.
What's
They were
happening today?
stripped.
Women,
They were
do you
stripped.
think
Hold on, because
do you
you
think women
what
okay,
do you?
go
I
ahead, go
just
ahead.
told you what's happening today.
They
Stripped.
are
The
not in
power
tune
was
in
stripped,
femininity.
and now the women are understanding the power that they had, and men don't like it.
They don't
What are you
have
not
no more
understanding?
power then than they got today.
You're right. It's not about them having more power. It's about them understanding the power that they already do have
Women
and
have
utilizing
always
it.
understood this. They just never
No, it's
utilized it.
not
Now
true.
today, they utilize the power the understanding and the power. Today they utilize it in the wrong way that's very destructive to the black
I don't think so.
family.
I don't
It's
think it's
proven.
destructive.
It's not
Like
that's
I
a
said, I think what's destructive is men don't
okay,
want
how? How
to
is men destructive?
be, like I just said,
Is men okay,
men.
hold on. Is men
Why do you ask me a question and then cut me out before I can answer it?
okay, come on.
I said the issue is men are sabotaging, are self destructing because they can't handle what the women
That's
possess.
bullshit.
They
That's
can't
bullshit.
handle, and it's
Okay,
happened time after time after time.
okay,
They
okay.
can't handle what women possess.
Okay,
So
let's
they would
roll with your
rather
scenario.
demonize it. They would rather
Uh,
demonize it.
uh-huh.
They would rather criminalize our wounds. They
Right.
would rather take away our rights.
Uh,
And instead of just stepping up, they would rather
uh-huh. Black
basically
men. You talking
destroy
about
women.
black men. You talking about black men, right? Or white
All
men.
men, black men,
Cause white men, cause black men never took away black women's rights. Black men never
they
put their foot down on a black woman's neck.
they
They
rode the
never, they
coattails.
no, no,
They
no,
rode the
they did.
coattails.
Okay, let's go with your scenario. Let's roll with your scenario, what you just laid down about the men not stepping up. How can a man step up when in 2025 the woman is filing divorce rates at 80%? In 2025, the woman is destroying the upbringing of the child. In 2000, and how so? Because they are emasculating the young men, and then they are brainwashing the young ladies not to be wives. Who do this is who the responsibility of it to raise women to be wives? The woman. So the woman is not doing their job, raising young ladies to be wives or be prospective wives. They're not teaching them how to cook, how to clean, how to be
Well,
accountable.
who said that has to be a wife?
Because well, who run the household? You say women are
The woman.
women.
The
Okay,
woman can
so
do it all. That's you just put my point. The
well,
woman
if
can
they
do it
can't,
all.
if they can't do it all, then why won't they surrender and submit to the role of
No,
they play their
I said
role
the
and the
woman
man play their
can
role?
do it all. I said the woman can do it all. When there's no children in the picture,
Well,
when
no, no,
there's
no,
no
no, no,
children
no,
in the
no,
picture,
no.
then
because
the
because
woman, there's no need for a counterpart. When there's no
I
children,
agree.
there's no
When a
need for a
woman don't
counterpart.
have no kids, she don't need a man. But in these cases today, women got kids, and they are the ones that raising these kids. So when you look at these young men today and say these men's not stepping up, then it's the woman's fault because they're the one raising them
How?
goddamn
How?
kids.
If men are so powerful, if men are such critical thinkers, if men have all of these traits that you said, then a woman can't stop them. But the men are not stepping up.
Because
Otherwise,
the woman is blocking.
if you can have policy, if you can see policy that's changing all around us for this, that, and the other, you're telling me out of all this time, men haven't been able to establish a policy so that women so-called aren't taking their children away from them.
Well, first of all, let's keep it 100 now. First of all, the laws in the United States is 90% the woman gets the child. So the man don't
Because the
even have a
man ain't
fucking say
fighting.
so. No,
Because the
no,
men
no,
ain't
no,
came
that's not
together to
true.
fight for
That's
policy.
not true. That's not
How?
true. The men don't have no right. They could go to court, they could get an attorney, and them motherfuckers still get 90% of custody to the goddamn woman because of the financial benefit that the woman get from the man being on child support. When they get a divorce, getting alimony, when they get a divorce, taking all the man's property, when they get a divorce, the woman ain't worked up goddamn day in her life to deserve shit. And what she get? Half of the motherfucking business and the
Oh,
money.
you speaking about such a small percentage of women like that's just the
That is a
regular, like that's
very
the
long.
norm.
Well, okay,
That is
hold it,
not the
hold
norm.
it.
I
Let's
would say
here
the
go.
norm
That
is women are not getting the child support that barely supports the child is
well,
probably more the norm.
well, no. The norm is, like I just said, statistically speaking, we can look it up. You all look it up. The woman gets 90% of the time in court, 90% or 100% of the child custody. No,
However,
no hands down. No hands.
no,
And then,
in my personal experience, okay, you may be talking, I don't have percentages, but I know in my personal experience that the court could care less that I was a woman. The
that's an
court
anecdotal
award
experience.
the
That's
the
yours. We're
court
talking about
re-
we talking
but I
general.
don't but my point is when the man brings what he's supposed to bring to the courthouse, then
Uh-huh.
the judges are not just slamming the book on the
Yes,
man
they
and saying,
are.
no, that's not happening. That for
Dr.
whatever
T,
reason, if the
Dr.
man don't
T,
have his stuff
I'm
together
telling
or
you,
whatever, that's different. Because if
family,
the man is coming in there with his stuff together, the courts are not ruling because that would be so easy to.
it's very unfair. You're right.
But
It's very
so
unfair.
what's the man's role in going and taking it back to court, going and getting an
Well,
attorney?
that's
What's
another
the man's
problem.
role?
That's another problem. When the man do get another chance to come to court and challenge that decision, they always tend to stay on the decision that was given by the judge the very first time. Now, if there's exception to what I'm saying, of course it is. But on the norm, the woman always get custody of the kid because in the court's eye, the courts look at just like the woman, especially the black woman, look at a child as property. The woman look at a child as an item that she
First
owns.
of all, how are you gonna speak about what a woman does and don't do? You ever been a woman?
But I'd have been in that same situation, and
That
I'd have
but you
seen.
ain't
I don't
nowhere
have
that
to
you
be a woman to have an opinion. I'm Mr.
ain't
Critical, goddamn it.
you sure are. You own one because I know where you gonna tell me that a woman is looking at her child as property. You ain't gonna
Hey,
make me believe that.
hey, I'm telling you, real talk. All jokes aside,
It
y'all.
ain't no real
When
talk.
when you
You
when you
just
have
talking out the side of your
when
neck.
you hold a conversation with a woman and she talk about her kids, this is how she gonna say it. My kids, my this, my that. Not never do they ever say our, our. Even when they got a good relationship with the father and the father is a participant in the child's life
Who's
and they share custody, the woman still refer to the child
who are
as
you?
mine.
What are you basing that on? Just because that was your experience? That's not
That
the
wasn't my
experience.
experience. That
Ain't nobody
part
walking
was not.
around. Ain't nobody in no relationship walking around saying mine when it's ours. Now,
That
if I
is
got
crazy.
100% custody, if I got 100% custody,
It's
then,
still
then
not
that's
yours.
mine. That's
No, it's
mine.
not. Well,
That's
hey,
mine.
family, we're gonna end this. We're gonna end this because we got some more stuff to talk about. We cannot wait to get back. The main thing that we want to hear from you all is what's your opinion? What's your thought on this topic today? I say women would be better off if they go back to the old days and let the man lead And what's your opinion, Dr. T?
Women are owning their power. Deal with it.
So, hey, family, subscribe, follow us, chime in, make a comment, leave a thought, leave a suggestion, and we look forward to talking to you guys next time. Baby, what's the next
Well,
thing we're gonna talk about?
ooh, goodness. Shoot, I was in a meeting and I had some feelings about some things that were shared in that meeting. In dealing with crime. And so we're gonna have a conversation about how we dealing with crime or how crime is being dealt with.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, I remember. So, y'all, tune in, check us out. Thank you all for following and listening to us. And hey, we don't take this shit personal.